Welcome to a new crafty video where I'm going to use some just some plain white cardstock for the card base and a panel that will go on the front of the card, which you will see in a minute. I'm also going to use a stencil from SSS Stamp, which is a hearts and stars or hearts stencil. It came in one of the kits. I have Spellbinders, yes, December 23. Sneak and a kiss die set. I am way behind on everything, and yes, I am also going to use my stamp wheel ultra sticky matte. So this is just the grid matte. This is not like the stamp wheel comes with it's its own setup, if that makes sense, but this is one of the consumable parts of it, which is the sticky grid matte. And this matte is I say sticky because that's the name of it, but it's not really sticky like glue sticky. It's kind of like a tacky kind of color kind of feeling, a bit like your photopolymer stamp. So a good quality photopolymer will almost have this cling tack to it, and that's what it is like, and I think that's pretty much what it is as well. Waffle Flower also have a similar product where it is basically the photopolymer but in a large sheet, and the reason that I'm loving this is because I can now use it to hold down my paper like this and then hold the stencil on top of it, because as long as your stencil is bigger than your piece of paper, then you just kind of press it into it, and you can kind of see it on video where it's sort of holding it down in place, and then you are hands-free, so to speak. No more sticking things down with bits of tape like you've seen in so many of my videos, although that does work. So if you don't have this, don't panic. You can still do it that way, definitely. But I think this is just making it a little bit easier to get a whole, like a whole sheet of cardstock covered in either ink or, especially if you want to use your pastes, I can't say the word, that kind of thing, then it just makes it a little easier, a little less messy if you're not into that kind of messy craft. I don't mind getting kind of messy. It doesn't bother me, but I know some people don't like it, so this is just another way to do this, and it's very, very, like, I'm loving it so far. I decided to use some tumbled glass Distress Oxide ink, and all I'm going to do is take a blending brush. Mine are not true blending brushes in the sense that they are makeup brushes. So I will eventually invest in some actual crafty blending brushes, but to be fair, these are from, oh gosh, these are from Wilko, so I think, do they even exist anymore? I'm not even sure. It's been so long since I've been into town, like a normal person. So I have no idea, but these were really inexpensive, and these are just quite a large brush, so they're nice for bigger areas of your cardstock, or like doing a whole background. But they work really, really well, so I really quite like them. I do have some smaller ones that I bought off Amazon that were meant to be quote unquote craft ones. They are not very good, but I will use them until I get new ones. So that's, yeah, may as well use them. I've got them. So all I did was I inked over the top of the stencil, and that then creates the background. Now I thought this was had too much contrast, so I'm just going to take my ink, my blending brush again, without really, I do ink it a little bit, I was going to say without inking it too much, but grabbing some more ink and then going over the top just to mute down the background so it's not so stark white. So it's got this sort of softness to it, and I think that looks really, really, really nice. Now obviously I could have also done is left the stencil on after I'd inked it, and then taken like a clear sparkle kind of gel paste, or some sort of something that's going to be clear but have the sparkle in it, and then just wipe that over the top. Spread that over the top, and that would have just, when it dries, would have given this beautiful glittery, just another bit of texture and all that sort of thing to it. So all I did there with this matte, with the sticky grid matte, is you just clean it off like you would your stamps. So depending on the ink that you've used, I would go with whatever cleaner you would normally use. And I had clung it clung it to my media mat, which is my Tim Holtz glass media mat. I love this thing. You guys see it all the time in my videos because that's all I use. And so I cleaned it somewhat off. And it's actually really easy to keep clean and to clean things off of the mat because it's a glass mat. So what I've done, I've pre-cut all the pieces that I wanted, and I popped them in this is just a CD sleeve, like for CDs, you know, when we still had those things. But these are great pockets if you wanted to use them to store your dies or your smaller stamp sets and that, which I do. It reminded me of a Friends episode, but anyway. So I pre-cut all the pieces. I had an idea of colours. I'm not going to ink any of these pieces, but I wanted to show you. I always, with the Spellbinder, because I get the club kits. Holy crud! I always like to try and show you everything that's in that kit for that month, but obviously you can expand on this. You can use parts and pieces of it. You don't have to use all of it, but this is just a showcase for you. I don't have to do this. I like doing this for you guys. And so what I did with the dress, this is going to be the skirt for the girl. There's a girl and a boy in this, or a guy and a girl, you know what I mean. Anyway, and so I took two skirts and I cut one in black and one in the red, and I layered the black just slightly, or the red one slightly, no, which way around? The black one slightly behind the red one, just so that a bit of the black edge sticks out, and it just makes it look like it's a different, like she's almost got like a, what do they call them? Like they're sort of, I imagine that 50s style skirt where they had the petticoats, that's the word, sort of sticking out the bottom, those lace petticoats. So that's what I had in my head. You could actually add a tiny piece of lace underneath there, and that would look really, really cute. So for her legs, yes, I know they look a bit weird. They've got this big loopy circle thing on them. The idea behind this is one of the dies that Spellbinders have come up with. They've got many in the range, and they basically move. So if you want to have the legs swing, which I think is really sweet, you could just add a small roundish, or round if you have round foam dots, to the center, and that would be the only bit that would hold it then to the skirt part. I'm not going to do that. I'm going to stick these flat, but I will actually do a video where I show you how to do that. There's been a few that they've brought out as part of the club kits that have got that movable part, but they also have others in their sort of normal range, if you like, that have that moving mechanism, and it's just really sweet. It's just a fun thing to do, and I think very cute for something like this where you've got a little boy and a little girl. Well, no, that sounds wrong. A man and a woman under a little umbrella. I'm imagining they're having a little smooch. Anyway, so I've got the legs and the skirt for the woman. Then we have the trousers and the shoes for the dude. Now there's two parts to the shoes, which I think after putting this together, because I always do this for the first time on camera with you guys, so sometimes I don't know how these things go together and I have to work it out. So I think actually the shoes are separate, and then the larger piece that where his feet are now, where I've glued them, that's actually what you could use in a different color to kind of represent his socks. So you would do those in maybe, I don't know, a red maybe, or something like that, or whatever color. And then he would then put his little shoes over the top of that, and then it would look like he's got socks on as well. So I didn't do that. I just kind of moved the shoes up so that it looked like you couldn't see his socks, and that worked just fine. I by this point realized that was what that was, why there were two different layers for it, but I didn't want to stop the video. So for his shirt, there are two parts to it. There's a solid piece, and then there's sort of what would be the stripes on the shirt. So this is what I'm putting together here, and I kept the colors kind of very simple. So I've got blues, I've got red and pink, and then I have black, and I think that is actually a creamy color for her legs, and that's it. I've not like tried to put a billion different colors on here. I've kept it, you know, she's in red and he's in blue, and then the umbrella's in pink and red, and I just think it worked. So now for the umbrella. This also has parts and pieces that it cuts, so you can put you can make it multicolored. So you could have, you know, like you could do this as a beach scene and have, you know, one of those sort of rainbow colored, you know, kind of like the old-fashioned beach balls that we used to get. You could do an umbrella like that and all the different colors of the rainbow. That'd be kind of cool. Or you could have this all in one color and sort of have it look just 3D, because you can have that. You could still add the stripes even in the same color. They will still give that sort of more 3D look to it. But I decided to go with alternate stripes. And so I've got red and pink for this one. And what I think you could also do is add little diamondy thing, diamante, no, what are they called? Gems to there's like little, I don't know what to call them, but like little circly things on the bottom of the umbrella there. I don't know what they're called. Those little like pippy things that are on where the wire for the umbrella comes down and like holds everything in place. Yeah, I think I'm making some sense, but anyway. And the same for the top. So you could add extra embellishments to those bits. I think I do, because it was a while ago when I made this, I think I do add maybe some crystal, no, not crystal lacquer, what's it called? Like a sparkle gel or a clear gel. What is that called? Like glossy accents, that kind of thing. I think I do add that to the top, if I remember right. We'll see. We'll see when we get there. But the top of the umbrella also has its own little separate piece that a die cuts, so I'm just popped that out, and I used black for that as well. So now we have the umbrella ready to go as well. So these are all the parts and pieces put together, and now we just have to pop them on the card, she says. So once I had all these pieces together, it was just working out where I was going to put everything on the card. I had an idea, and I kind of used the example that you get with the kits. I kind of used that as a like a guide as to what I was going to do. And so within the kit, you also get these dies that will cut out these little hearts. I think all the hearts cut out in one piece, and then you have the U word and the love word that will cut out separately. And so I cut them out in a pale pink, so the same pink as the umbrella. And then I was just working out where to put them. And they're these really delicate little things. I don't know what to call them. Die cuts. And I just thought they'd be really fun just to add to the background. And I wanted the love you to be at the bottom of the card as one sentence, one kind of like as one sentiment down the bottom, rather than having them separate on the card, if that makes any sense. Now, instead of having one at the top, one at the bottom. So I'm just carefully popping my little hearts on. Now when I die cut these hearts out, these like string hearts out, the centers of the hearts that popped out are just sitting to the right of me on my desk there, and I'm actually going to use those because they're perfectly formed little hearts. They're quite a nice shaped heart, so I'm actually going to use them on the card just as extra embellishments. So when I've die cut all these pieces out, for the most part I've used everything that die cut out, if that makes sense. So even like I say, the centers of the hearts, I'm going to use them on the card because I've got them and why not? And they make a great embellishment in themselves. you can obviously keep them for a separate project if you didn't want to use them for this. So just slowly getting these on. Obviously you need quite a fine applicator for this, so it's a very skinny piece of cardstock, but it works really well. And I'm using the grid lines on my mat just to get a rough idea of where I want to pop those. The bits hanging off the edge I will just trim off once things have dried off a bit. I'll just give the card and paper a bit of time to bond. they have to bond together, and then once I've done that, it'll just clean up the sides. I think these will work. I don't know if they'll go across the whole of an A2, like a regular A2 size, if you turned it, you know, on a landscape, that's the word. But I think it would work for the most part. So you could do something to, you know, have it coming out the edge of a piece of cardstock or something like that, if you wanted to do it in a landscape format. But to be honest, between the umbrella and the little people, it kind of works better this way. It's sort of a portrait style. So getting the Love You on, and those little, because the die cut is quite delicate, it's quite good. As you start to stick it down, you can kind of maneuver it so that if it's not quite sitting straight, you can make it straight, if that makes sense, without bending the cardstock. So that's quite handy. So those are them stuck down. Those are them, that's really good English. They're all stuck down now. So like I say, to get the legs on, you would normally just put a piece of foam in that center hole, and then that would be what your skirt will then stick to, is the piece of foam, and nothing else will stick to the legs themselves so that they can actually move. But because I didn't want to do that this time, I just wanted them as legs, non-dangly legs. I decided to just pop them straight on the back there, just being aware of how far up those legs were going because the skirt narrows near the top. I didn't want the sort of round portion to be sticking out. If you wanted shorter legs, which for this, I think they're like long enough, if that makes sense, you could always cut the circle bit off and just stick the legs on where you wanted them. But I think they work, even you leaving that round mechanism thing on. So once I had the legs in place, I'd stuck the little guy together, so he's got his shirt on. I'm now just going to place them where I think I want them, and as it turned out, I thought they looked kind of cute, sort of like hanging out on the like on top of one of the love part of the die cut, that sort of extended little piece of cardstock. So I thought that was kind of like a nice way to ground them so that they weren't just kind of stuck to the card and floating as such. And that sort of worked really well, and the umbrella then still fit on the card as well, because I needed to watch the height of all three of them, and I needed to watch the width of the umbrella because that's quite a chunky thing. So yeah, so it's always a good idea just to place your parts and pieces down once you've got the main bits put together, like the leg, like for the girl and the boy, and then the umbrella. You can then place them and see where they're going to sit nicely before you actually commit to gluing them down. So I've got them stuck down, and now I'm going to add the umbrella. And this is where you could always put the umbrella off to the side slightly if you wanted to. I can't remember what I do here, if I just go straight down, like sort of make it straight, if that makes sense. Or whether I go, whether I do pop it off to at an angle. Can't remember what I did yet, because like I say, this was a while ago since I made this card. Because clearly this is a love themed card. Which would have been very nice for my Valentine's series that I sort of didn't do. Yeah, life just kind of happens. But this would make a really lovely anniversary card, Valentine's card, you know, anything like that. Any love themed card. And I don't think that you need it to say love you. Like you could just do this as a you know, you could just have the word love is what I'm trying to say. So if it's for, you know, your parents' anniversary or something like that, you could do the same thing but just have the word love instead of love you. Love you is more sort of to your other half kind of thing. So I did do it at an angle, look at that. So now we've got that stuck down at an angle. We can now trim off the edges. They should be dry enough to just snip them off, and they did ping everywhere, but anyway, even the tiny little pieces, I still snipped them all because it just tidies up those edges and makes it look nice and neat. And then we should be good. So one of the last things I want to do is first I'm going to add to the card base. And I'm just going to use some wet adhesive for that. You can use dry adhesive because obviously it's a bigger area. But sometimes I'm just in the flow of it, and it's honestly just quicker when I'm filming to just add some wet adhesive to it so that you guys are not sitting there watching me take tape off the back of tape for however long it takes me. But it is stronger than double-sided tape, so it will actually stay stuck longer, in my opinion. Depends on the climate and stuff that you're in as well as to whether it dries out. So I just think that the wet adhesive is just a stronger bond. So all I did was I added some adhesive to the back of the panel and stuck it and lined it up with the card base. That's the other nice thing about wet adhesive, is you've got a bit of time to kind of move it and get it in the right spot on there. Dry adhesive, not so much. When it commits, it commits. So last thing I want to do, or one of the last things, is add the little hearts. These are the hearts, like I said, that were from the inside of the those delicate heart swirly, I don't know what you call them, little lines of cardstock. And I just think they add just a little bit of something else at the top of the card. Actually, one of the hearts, I've just noticed, you can't even see them because it's behind them, but it's fine. So I'm taking some, I believe this is the White Blizzard, which is a Nouveau crystal drop. It's like a clear, dries clear, but it's got like I want to say more of a mother of pearl kind of glitter in it rather than a gold glitter. And then I used some of the Nouveau crystal, what is that called? Crystal glaze for the top of the umbrella. Again, just tying bits of that in. But when I looked at this, I thought actually her shoes need a bit of shine. And I did go over a whole foot because I couldn't get it in such a small area. So the shoes got it. And that just kind of brings down the shiny, sparkly stuff at the top. It kind of balances it out at the bottom of the card as well. So that's it, guys. Really easy to put together. Yes, die cutting takes a little bit of time, but it's nothing major. And for a few simple die cuts, you get this really cute card that you could give to your loved one. And yeah, I hope you've enjoyed this, guys. And I hope to see you in the next one. Those of you who are new, thank you for stopping by, and I hope to see you soon, guys. Bye for now.